one of you. We have consistently said no to war in our name, and we're gathering here tonight to send a strong message to our MPs who will be voting tonight at 10:30 with a take our country to war again. And our message to our MPs is don't bomb Syria. Don't bomb Syria. Don't bomb Syria. Don't bomb Syria. Brothers and sisters, we marched when it came to Iraq. We marched when it came to Afghanistan. And we were right. Our leaders were wrong. And it's absolutely disgraceful that instead of learning the painful lessons from the history that we've already had, they're going in to try and repeat history in the most awful way. We know that when we send bombers into other people's countries, we are not more safe. If anything, we are less safe. And it's not just me saying that. It was the head of MI5 who said that. It was the Defence Select Committee who said that. And I think it's completely irresponsible as well as immoral that we are being told by another British Prime Minister that by sending in our bombers that British people in this country will be more safe. That's a big fat lie. Did not exist before the Iraq invasion. So this is what we could and should be doing. We need to have real political pressure for a real peace process. The so-called Vienna process is just starting. It's just starting. Right now, in Syria, which is what they're not telling you, this whole last year, they've already been bombing. This is not a debate to start bombing Syria tonight. This is a debate to extend bombing and where the UK Air Force should be involved. Because guess what? Since last September alone, 3,000, not 300, 3,000 airstrikes have been used to drop bombs in Syria. America has spent $4.6 billion just in the last year in bombing Iraq and Syria. Russia is bombing Syria. France started bombing Syria since September. The Gulf states have been bombing Syria. And the idea that we in the UK, by adding a few extra tornadoes, are going to defeat ISIS by military action when America couldn't do it over the whole of the last year is more than laughable. It's absolutely disgusting, and it's just Cameron playing a machismo game, trying to play lip service that UK is some big player militarily, when the reality is A, it isn't, and B, it will make the quagmire even worse. It won't have a neutral effect, it will make things worse, both over there and here. The people in Syria are saying, we've already been bombed. And if anything, this is exactly what ISIS want. If you have Syria, there are so many agendas at play. 2 years ago, Cameron said he wanted to go into war in Syria to bomb Assad. Now he's saying don't bomb Assad, we're going to bomb the enemies of Assad. That's how confused this Tory government is. So, and if we're going to bomb Assad, guess what? We're bombing the Russians, because the Russians' planes are being used to prop up Assad. We need Assad to step down. He has killed hundreds and thousands of his own people. It's true, but everybody stood by while that's been going on. We need an orderly, peaceful transition. That's what the people in the region need, and if there are going to be any troops on the ground, it's got to be from the region itself. Western troops is just putting our British armed forces on the line for no good reason, because they will not win the hearts of minds and they will not defeat them militarily. Despite the biggest military force in the world trying in Afghanistan, which was one of the weakest and poorest countries in the world, they were not even able to defeat militarily there. The They're still in a quagmire there. Despite the biggest military forces and despite the billions of dollars and pounds and lives lost, they did not win militarily in Iraq. And in fact, they had to leave Iraq. And to this day, we're seeing the sectarian violence, millions of people displaced, hundreds of thousands of people being killed. We are still facing the consequences. And the idea that the same failed strategy is going to work in Syria is plain wrong. So you are right to be here today, and we are right to lobby our MPs who are supposed to be speaking in our name. So I'm not going to dumb down the arguments, because you know what, we're not stupid. We deserve to hear the arguments.
I'd like to just say a few words actually, because I think that a lot of the stuff that needs to be said has already been said. But what I will say is that the fact that we're here again saying don't bomb Syria really tells us a lot about this country and about what our government seems to think is right and what is wrong. I think it's absolutely disgusting that we're actually having to sit and have this debate. That the fact that they're having 10 hours worth of debate in Parliament today, because the question is completely clear. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever to drop bombs on a country which is already being bombed and has civilians in it. It makes absolutely no sense for us to send our Air Force to drop bombs. For the government then to say we've got no money for people in this country, we've got cuts in this country. This Birmingham City Council is suffering from cuts left, right and centre, cutting down services for ordinary citizens of this city and of this country, because this government seems to think that the things that we need here is not good enough and the things that we need here is not a priority for him. But in fact, having to go into Syria and saying actually not even go into Syria at the moment, we're just going to fly past and drop bombs, that for him is acceptable, and that for me is absolutely disgusting. And I know everybody else here agrees with me, because it makes no sense whatsoever. One of the things that keeps being mentioned is this 70,000 number of people on the ground in Syria, this troop that he's talking about, this army that he's referring to. They're not united. That's not one force. There are hundreds and hundreds of groups within that 70,000, many of which don't even get on with each other. So how on earth are they going to come and listen to the West? How on earth are they going to listen to David Cameron and say, actually, yes, let's all get on the ground and work with you guys and let's fight against ISIS, when he doesn't even know who they are, what they stand for, and how they're going to react to all of this. They don't want us in the country. They don't want us to be in the country on the ground or flying over bombing. The fact that they keep mentioning Iraq and saying actually, well, we're doing airstrikes there, and because we've got Kurds who want us there and we're working with them, it's working well, that gives us a reason to say let's bomb ISIS in Syria, because it's the same group of people and because they just need to be bombed and got rid of. There is no comparison, because we don't have ground control. The fact that there's no game plan, there is absolutely no strategy in place. I've been watching the debate here and there throughout the day from 12 o'clock noon, and I've been seeing the fact that I thought actually now's his chance to try and sell this to his own MPs. Now's David Cameron's chance to stand up and say, this is my strategy, this is what we're going to do, these are the plans, and these are the 70,000, and this is what I meant by this. But in fact, what are we hearing? It's intelligence. This is the same intelligence that took us to bloody Iraq when we did not want to go there. The same intelligence that we're going on again, when in fact every single one of us knows that we don't need any experts to tell us anything. We know full well that going into Syria and bombing them is only going to result in more deaths, it's only going to result in more killings, it's only going to result in more pictures, horrific pictures of innocent people being caught up in this crossfire. Can you imagine being 10 years old and living in the Middle East at the moment? All you've been seeing all your life is war, from the beginning of your life, and there is no end to it. And all we get is having to, the work that we've done in this city, the work that people have done around the Syrian refugees, and in fact refugees from all around the world, we're responsible for the stuff that we've done in the past. And tonight, it means that we're going to be responsible yet again for more refugees and for more killings, and this government needs to listen. And I will say that a lot of the MPs in Birmingham, hopefully I'm praying and fingers crossed that they will end up seeing light and they will end up voting no. Many of them, in fact, five of the MPs I spoke to last night till 11 o'clock, literally bombarding them with messages on the phone to them, having conversations and trying to speak to them and saying these are the reasons. A lot of them, I mean, 3 of them were undecided up until last night because they're getting brainwashed by this ideology that in fact there is no other solution, there is no other option. And Salma's already mentioned there are alternatives to war, and we need to make sure that these messages are put across to our MPs. The fact that we're here now and showing that Birmingham is united and we're standing strong against war yet again sends out a strong message. And I will end on saying that I'm really genuinely proud of every single person that is here today and who comes out, because it makes a difference. And on that note, I'll end. Thank you.
It's so important for us to recognise the implications of what war actually means to people in this country. Not only are we going to be sending people from this country, our citizens, out to fight in other countries, but it means that it puts us, ordinary citizens, and especially ordinary Muslims, at risk in this country of attacks happening to us. We already know about the increase in Islamophobia and hate crime, and I think that it's absolutely ridiculous for our government to even be thinking that we should go and bomb another country and we should go and get involved in a war where there is no strategy. And I think it's important for us at a time like this in this country to look at the benefits of peace and to look at how we need to deal in a peaceful process in order for us to respond to the atrocities that are happening around the world. And I think that one of the key ways would be to have dialogue and a coherent strategy. There are peace talks in Vienna that are just starting, and I think that that's what we should be waiting for before actually going straight in and deciding that we're going to drop bombs on Syria, because this is a situation that we're discussing at the moment. And I think that this whole thing needs to be thought a lot more in detail and properly, because there are going to be serious consequences. If we have a look at what's happened in Paris, the attack that's happened in Paris means that the UK is on a high security threat level, and by us going in and bombing a country, ISIS are only going to react by attacking us, and that's going to put ordinary citizens at risk and at fear of being attacked in this country.
We don't want bombing in our name. We want peace, not war. Hundreds of people turned out tonight at very short notice. Thousands of people are outside Parliament as well as from last night, and it's clear that David Cameron has not been the case for war. We know it will be disastrous and cause more bloodshed, not bring about peace, and that should make us more disastrous. So we stand united as the British population to say not to war.
في سوريا وفي كل أنحاء العالم، ونريد العدل والحرية كي نعيش أحرار ونوصل للناس. حاج الدمر بسوريا، حاج هذا الشيء ما بفيدنا من دون سبب. انتم عم تقتلوا الأطفال والنساء، ما عم تعملوا شيء.
في الحرب في سوريا، بشار هو الإرهابي الأول في العالم. بشار أسوأ من هتلر. هتلر قسم في الإجرام أمام بشار وأمام إجرام بشار. شبعنا قتل في سوريا، شبعنا موت، شبعنا دفن أطفال، شبعنا دمار، شبعنا تشريد، شبعنا نزوح، شبعنا لجوء.
بدنا حرية، بدنا عدل،
بدنا سلام، بدنا حرية، بدنا عدل، بدنا ديمقراطية. أرجوكم مثل ما بصدروا الموبايل ووسائل التقانة والتكنولوجيا الحديثة للبلدان كلها، صدروا ديمقراطية والعدل للبلدان المظلومة، وأولها سوريا، فلسطين، للعراق، لكل الدول العربية المظلومة، للشعوب المظلومة، شعوب مسالمة.